The famed Kelm Beis Medrash, a place where they work on their midos, maybe more than any place else over the last 150 years. One of the most central midos, maybe the most central midah, was Nosei Ba'ol Im Chavero. Literally, carrying your friend's burden with him. This entails compassion and empathy, but goes further than each of these characteristics on their own. I have compassion for my friend. I emphasize with him, but that doesn't mean yet I do anything. Carrying his burden together with him means we are partners. I'm carrying together with him. He can be comforted through knowing someone else is in his corner. I don't mean to imply this meat is limited to the situation where one's friend knows you're carrying the burden with him. The Alter of Kelm, the famed Rav Simcha Zissel, was known to have a blood problem, and his face during the week was very white, as he didn't have enough blood flowing to it. On Shabbos, though, he was full of color. He felt, as true tzaddikim do, the Kedushas of Shabbos, and literally looked like a different person. I can believe this because I heard from my Rabbi Rav say many times that when he came to the Mir Yeshiva, it took him a while to realize that there wasn't a different mashgiach on Shabbos. He originally thought they had a weekday mashgiach and a greater one who came in for the Shabbatot. In fact, it was, of course, the same Rabbi Yerucham Levovitz who also felt Kedushas of Shabbos and literally looked like a different person. But back to the Altar of Kelm. One Shabbos, he looked deeply sad and forlorn and didn't have anything of his usual Shabbos glow. What happened? A huge Russia, someone who many times attacked Torah Judaism, had passed away. The holy altar was Nosei Ba'ol with this person's neshama and was terribly moved by the punishments he was surely facing now in the world of truth. And that took away his joy for Shabbos. Amazing. I heard this story again from Rav Olba, the famous mashgiach and author of Ali Shor. He always also used to say that the way to be Nosei Ba'ol is by tziurim, pictures, and imagination. You have to imagine, but really imagine what the other person is going through. Put yourself in his shoes. Lest we think this is just a midah for earlier generations, I would like to tell you about one of the true tzaddikim of our generation, Rav Tzvi Meyer Zilberberg. A friend of mine told me that he related to Rav Tzvi Meyer a real tzara, a difficulty that he was going through. And listen to this. Rav Tzvi Meyer held his hand and cried with him for 42 minutes. To understand how important a midah this is, being Nosei Ba'ol Chavero, please think for a moment about one of your life struggles. We all have them. Now think how happy you are, or would be, if you had a partner in that pain. Someone who knows what you're going through and carries your burden with you. This is what we can do for others by acquiring this vital midah. This is no easy task, and one that doesn't come necessarily natural to us. On the other hand, my sense is someone who makes a work of this can grow very much in this, maybe more readily than other midot. This is super important midah to apply to our children. We so easily forget our children go through difficult things. We so often give negative labels to their behavior. But if we open our mind, if we opened our heart, we would quickly realize they were missing the point. They just need understanding. That nefarious behavior is a front for insecurity, for wondering if they are lovable, if you are angry with them. I'd like to share something from the Lakewood Mashgiach, Rav Matisyahu Solomon, in his book With Hearts Full of Love, which, by the way, is an excellent Chinuch Habanim work. This is from pages 70 to 72. Ko Tomar leBeis Yaakov v'taged lebnei Yisrael. Beis Yaakov is, of course, the women. And Hashem tells Moshe, speak to the women first and tell them about the Torah. Why? Here's Rabbeinu Yonah, a Rishon. Because, quote, they're the ones who send off their children to school and see to it they learn Torah, and they are merciful, Rachmod Alehem, when their children come home from school. They give them treats so that they want to learn Torah. They watch over them so they shouldn't forsake the Torah. They teach them when they're still young to be fearful of Averos. The modest women are the ones who bring about Torah and Yira. Now, Rav Matisyahu does a beautiful job and picks up on some words in Rabbeinu Yonah. They're the ones who send off their children to school and to see if they learn Torah. But here's the point. They are merciful when their children come home from school. Mirachmot alehem. Rabbeinu Yonah is telling us something very important here. When a child comes home from school, he is a Rachmanis case. He's been battered and bullied all day, and now he's a candidate for a little mercy. This is such an incredible insight that I would almost say it takes a Rishon with Ruach HaKodesh to reveal this to us. Every single child who comes home from school needs to be greeted with Rachmanis. Even if he's a star pupil, even if he loves going to school and can't wait to leave in the morning, the long day in school is still a grueling experience. And when he comes home, he needs to be greeted with compassion and understanding. It's not an easy thing for a child to sit through hours and hours of classes, restricted to seat, required to pay attention without wavering or looking out the window and daydreaming. It's a lot to demand from anyone, let alone a young child. By the end of the day, he's a Rachmanis case. And when he comes home, he needs a breather. He needs to get away from the pressure and relax. He needs that his mother greet him with a cup of milk and a cookie, that she asks him if he's all right, if there's anything she can do for him. Unfortunately, sometimes this young Rachmanis case is treated and greeted in an entirely different way. Sometimes his mother puts him through a cross-examination about what he accomplished that day in school. What did you learn today? What did the teacher say? What happened here and what happened there? Sometimes it even happens there was a problem in school. Maybe he didn't listen so well, and the teacher phoned the mother and told her about it before he came home from school. You can imagine what kind of greeting he'll get on that day. The mother means well. She is concerned about the progress of her child, and she wants to support what the school is doing and make sure her child is successful. But if she really wants him to be successful, she should not worry so much about what went on in school and focus instead on her emotionally bruised and battered child, who at this moment needs a strong dose of Rachmanis from her. She needs to sympathize with him and show him that she understands he had a hard day. She has to assure him that he's safe at home and that now he can relax. Let's sit down. Let's share a cookie. Let's play a little. These are the things he needs to hear. Forget about school for a while. Think about your child. He needs Rachmanis. Amazing. The Mashgiach is speaking about younger children, but sometimes the older children need even more Rachmanis, more Nesias Ol. Don't forget what it was like growing up, not being sure of yourself, not knowing if you really have friends. Truly, Nosiv Ol is one of the greatest midos, but also one that we so much need for correct parenting.